Chapter 67. Miss Moss asked Dave's mother to speak, and she stood and said, "No one can speak for all of us, but someone ought to try. We are gathered here with respect and affection for this man and this woman, who today, before all of us, go together deeper into mystery. Certainly we are here to witness, we are here to support, we are here to celebrate, but we are also here as living testimony, each and every one of us, that when they need help, when they need attention and assistance against foul wind and dark tide, we will be there. When they are troubled, we will lend them ears. When they seek counsel, we will lend them what little wisdom we have. When they are helpless, we will lend them our hands and our hearts. When they are dark, we will endeavor to bring them light. When they are hungry, we will endeavor to bring them sustenance of whatever kind we can provide. That is what we do here. That is what we promise by our presence. This ceremony is about all of us. We are bound each to each in this place, even if we don't admit, except in times like this. We don't have to like each other, but we do have to attend to each other. We are graced and blessed to be here, and we are especially graced to be asked to witness and celebrate the love of two people we cherish. To be asked to be with them on this day, that they dive into life together, not knowing where it will take them, is a gift from them to us that no one can measure. We will savor this day. We will enjoy every moment of it. We will remember it for many years to come. But most of all, we will remember that on this brilliant day, Richard and Gina shared with us the joy and prayer of their love. And there is no greater love than that. So let us thank them here together, with our hands and voices raised in blessing older and deeper than any religion, and say to them in one voice, "We celebrate you. We will carry you in our hearts as two made one from this day forward." And there rose among them at that moment a tumultuous shout, all thrilled with joy. And there were tears also, many of them of many kinds, and among the voices raised there were those of other species of beings, for example, equine and avian, but no one who heard that joyous noise could tell which voice was which, only that many voices were raised in salutation and laughter and unquantifiable, uncategorizable prayer. The halls of the trees around the meadows sang. They rang as if they were bells that shimmered and echoed for a long time. And then there was such music and dancing and eating and drinking as could not be fully described were we to devote more books to them, and long books too. It was important to Miss Moss that no man or woman was minister or celebrant at the ceremony, except the principals, but she and Mr. Douglas did ask Cosmus to stand with them as a sort of prime witness, mostly because we looked pretty cool against the mountainous glow of his orange jumpsuit, didn't we? Said Mr. Douglas to Edwin later, when they were standing at the edge of the meadow watching Miss Moss dance with Emma and Maria. Well, one of us looked pretty cool, thought Edwin, but another one of us looked so nervous and tongue-tied that I thought for a moment I was going to have to say something when it was someone's turn to say, "Yes, I will," to that lovely girl. That would have been an interesting moment, wouldn't it? Imagine the moral implications and emotional ramifications if she would have asked for your affirmation and you didn't say anything, and I was the one who had to say, "Yes, you do," or "Yes, I do," or "Yes, we do." Very confusing. Cosmus came over bringing beer. "No beer for Edwin," said Mr. Douglas. "He's driving." "Very generous of him. I will consider that I owe him a beer." "Thank you so much for being, what, the tallest witness?" "An agent for Mr. and Mrs. Robinson, perhaps. They would be so delighted, Richard. I extend their most sincere and heartfelt congratulations." "Thanks." Miss Moss came over, flushed from dancing. "May I offer a few words at this juncture?" said Cosmus. "Up to 10, any length you like," said Miss Moss. "Well then," said Cosmus with a smile, "remember that we are here for you." "That's only 9 words," thought Edwin. "Throw in an adverb." "We will," said Miss Moss. "Not just the pleasure of the ceremony and its hurly-burly aftermath," said Cosmus, "but every bit of this place. This is your place. Wherever you go from here, this was the place that brought you together. Its ratty old rusted mailboxes and the stop signs with bullet-hole punctuation, the trucks in the woods with trees growing through them, beaver-barked trees, the whinnying of flickers and the chatter of kingfishers, mud up to your knees in April, maggots and deer carcasses, cars from deep in the last century, snarling tourists, rude, bald county officials, clear-cuts, huckleberry pies, chaining up your tires in October for the next 8 months at least, cottonwood snow drifting and sifting everywhere against the incredible afternoon light sometimes. Remember that. That's all part of it, as we are." Strange as we are, suspicious, vulgar, selfish, grumpy, troubled, this is no paradise. This is no lovely, sweet village in a novel. This is a crossroads notable only for the county's sand truck depot and your store. But we throw together here as best we can. Sometimes we are actually a sort of village for a day, like today. Remember that. Wherever you go, remember that. Today, you and Dickie made us a village. Tomorrow, we go back to being an obscure crossroad. Hurly-burly, thought Edwin, is a very good word. Does a hyphenated word count as two words? If you hyphenated a whole paragraph, would it actually be one word? Dave's dad is talking to Moon's dad. Beer is involved. Here's the greatest metaphor story ever, he says. One time I went to the funeral of a man who used to be a logger, and it was a great roaring funeral. He was Irish, and they have the roaringest funerals. And people got to drinking and dancing and courting, and a baby was conceived on the coffin of the guy who died. Hey, is there a greater metaphorical story than that? Hey, what's the metaphor? I haven't the faintest idea, said Dave's dad. What a story, though, hey? I love that story. I heard a story like that where a couple is getting married and the woman goes into labor on the altar, says Moon's dad. Now there's a metaphor for something or other. The way I heard the story, she said, I do, and then screamed with the first jolt of labor pain. That's a great story. Can I borrow that story? That's a keeper of a story. Is Miss Moss in labor? Asked Maria, suddenly at his elbow. I don't think so, said Maria's dad. She looks serene. Serene is not a word I would use for a woman in labor. Your mother was anything but serene. I would use a word like shrieking if I were using one word for a woman in labor. I hope she's pregnant, said Moon's dad. We've not had a new baby in the Zeg for a while, although I have been traveling and may have missed a few. Jack? I think we should take up a petition and see if they can have triplets, said Maria's dad, or at least twins. We are down 2 in population since the Robinsons. I wish they were here. He was the nicest guy ever, and she was nicer. They would be sitting right there under that tree holding hands if they were here. You never saw 2 people hold hands more than they held hands. They would sit quietly together on folding chairs at any and all events and hold hands. Let's put 2 chairs together under the cedar just in case they are here somehow and want to sit down. You don't want 2 people of that age to have to stand if they can sit. You know what I mean? And we'll get a little wine for them and some berries. I'll be right back.